Welcome. WWE Rumor Roundup. Big star played a role in Braun Strowman's release. It's time for another edition of the daily WWE Rumor Roundup, and it's safe to say that the wrestling world is still not completely over the recent spree of WWE releases. We have all the latest updates on Braun Strowman's status and everything that contributed to the superstar's shocking WWE release. In addition, backstage details regarding the promises made to two different recently released superstars have also come to light. Andrade finally made his big move as he debuted on the most recent episode of AEW Dynamite, and we have all the notes regarding the demands he made before signing a deal. WWE also announced the location of SummerSlam not too long ago, and all the rumors regarding the proposed matches for the pay-per-view event have also been covered in today's lineup. On that note, here is the latest WWE Rumor Roundup. 1. Details on Braun Strowman's WWE release, possible replacements, and more. Braun Strowman was inarguably the biggest name to have been featured on the list of released talents. The monster among men is a legitimate main event star who tasted world championship success in WWE and was yet to truly blossom as a genuinely diverse character. Braun Strowman's WWE exit is one of the most significant talking points, and several factors ultimately convinced the company to let him go. During a recent Wrestling Observer Radio episode, Dave Meltzer explained why Omo's rise as Raw's big guy affected Braun Strowman's standing on the roster. Strowman was WWE's go-to monster on Raw, but Omo's arrival instantly resulted in a power shift amongst the giants. Standing at 7 foot 3 inches, Omos is taller than Strowman and a more physically imposing giant on the Red brand. Omos essentially took Braun Strowman's position on Raw, and the former Universal Champion's uniqueness ceased to exist. WWE has Commander Aziz over at SmackDown, making it extremely difficult for Strowman to continue his run as WWE's top big guy, even on the Blue brand. All of a sudden, Braun Strowman at a legitimate 6'6" when you got Omos, who is the new toy who is 7 foot 3, Braun Strowman's big thing was that he had size and power, and now they are going with a new giant. He can't be the giant anymore when you got this guy who is legitimately 9 inches taller than him. Granted, Strowman's got the big body and everything like that, but you can only do the giant thing when you're the giant of the company on the brand, but he isn't that guy anymore. Like with Big Show. If you remember with Big Show, when Strowman came, Big Show was obsolete. They put Big Show in there Strowman to get Strowman over because Big Show was a good enough worker and had pretty good matches with Strowman, said Dave Meltzer. Meltzer also spoke about a possible Omos vs. Strowman angle which we sadly never got to witness. It was noted that Strowman could have put Omos over on his way out, but the match would not have been of the highest quality. The problem is Omos is not as good as Strowman and Strowman is not close to as good as Big Show, and so the big thing, under other circumstances, if they were gonna make this cut, they would book Strowman in there with Omos and then have Omos beat him, and they would cut Strowman. The problem is, if you think about that, is because the matches would absolutely totally **ck. They got big guys there, you can't be the giant, and he's not versatile enough to be something but the giant monster, said Dave Meltzer. While Braun Strowman's major WWE contract was also one of the determining factors towards his release, the influx of new mammoth wrestlers affected Strowman's stock as a performer. With Strowman, Adam Scherr, 37, who was on a $1.2 million guaranteed deal and had just a few weeks back denigrated all non-WWE wrestling and said he would never work anywhere else, the decision was made because of the feeling he was 2 years past his peak and he had become obsolete as the roster giant because of Omos on Raw, Commander Aziz on SmackDown, and perhaps Shanky on Raw, being on the main roster who were so much bigger than he is, Meltzer added in the newsletter. Braun Strowman recently posted a cryptic tweet hinting towards his post-WWE future, and the 37-year-old star could be preparing to make a big splash once he is free to compete again in September. Where do you see Braun Strowman going after his non-compete clause ends? 2. Former WWE star Andrade's demands before AEW signing revealed. Andrade was released from WWE on March 21 earlier this year, and the former United States champion has wasted absolutely no time getting back to business. Andrade made his AEW debut on the most recent Dynamite episode, and the fans inside Daily's Place gave him a solid reception. Wrestling Inc. has now revealed more details on Andrade's AEW signing. Tony Khan met Andrade during the same week in which the superstar was handed his WWE release. Andrade didn't sign a deal when he first met the AEW president, but added that Khan was quite motivated to get the former WWE star's signature. Tony Khan was particularly excited that Andrade didn't have a 90-day non-compete clause to finish. Andrade, however, had some massive demands before he penned a big deal with AEW. Andrade reportedly wanted complete creative control and also the power to veto losses. However, Andrade and AEW compromised, and the star was given a limited amount of creative control over his match finishes. It should also be noted that Impact Wrestling and Raw were also interested in signing Andrade. Impact held talks with the Mexican superstar, and the company was willing to guarantee part of his creative control demands. Unfortunately, the talks fell through as both sides couldn't decide upon the number of dates he would work. Andrade finally signed a contract with AEW earlier this week, and AEW officials spent a lot of time on the contract's wording. Andrade left WWE due to frustrations regarding his booking, and he expected to get a lot of creative freedom in AEW. However, AEW and the former NXT champion seem to have reached a common ground, and it will be interesting to see how it impacts his immediate future in the company. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe.